The appeal of running for many is that it's simple. You can do it almost anywhere, and all you need is some shoes and some clothes. And some would argue you don't even need the shoes, but we're not going to get into the benefits of barefoot running today. The reality though is that if you're going to start a serious running program, there's some stuff you should consider buying.
Absolutely. So today we have compiled a list of kit that you need to make running practical, including some things that we just can't run without, as well as some that maybe aren't so vital, but in our opinion, are quite nice to have.
We're going to start our list today with the necessities, the things you can't do without. And arguably, the most important item for running is the running shoes. The wrong shoes can lead to discomfort or even injury, whereas the right shoes can allow you to run more comfortably for much longer.
Yeah, so first port of call is the fit and getting the correct shoe, the style for you, and also the firmness. Now, to take a bit of the head scratching out of the equation, you can also just go into a running store, have your gait analysed, and get the correct shoe for you. And then with that, you also want to keep an eye on the wear of your shoes. Now, roughly speaking, we're talking every 400 to 500 miles you should be replacing your shoes and just making sure that you're not running them totally into the ground. And then, if your goal is performance, well, as we have proven, carbon shoes are significantly faster. But if maybe your goal isn't performance and you're not looking to break the bank, then just a good pair of mid-range shoes, well cushioned, will certainly see you through and prevent any injury. Well, next on the list is running socks, and paired with shoes, these are pretty vital to comfort. And this one really comes down to preference. There's a whole range out there. You've got cotton, technical socks, we've got longer socks that are almost lower calf, then we've got ankle socks, and then almost hidden socks. Personally, I'm a lower calf, longer sock type of guy, but I think you're an ankle sock guy?
Yeah, as Mark says, this is very much personal preference. I always opted for the really short hidden socks, cotton generally, nothing too technical. Technical socks are great, but they're not really worth the money often. You don't always need them, but it also does depend on the climate that you're in. Obviously, I did a lot of my running in Africa where you were really hot and you didn't want any more clothing on you than you needed. So Mark obviously in the UK maybe went for longer socks. It is personal preference, it is choice, thick, thin, long, short, it's up to you. I did use technical socks for my marathons and an Ironman because they were going to get wet and you needed the moisture wicking, but almost all of my training was done in just a basic pair of cotton socks.
Well, moving on, next on the list is apparel. Another pretty vital one in most parts of the world at least. Again,
I think everywhere you can't run naked.
True. Again, this comes down to personal preference. We have a whole array going from simple cotton t-shirts and shorts through to very technical kit as we have laid out here. The most important part is that it doesn't chafe, it's relatively light and breathable, and then we want support. For men, obviously that's going to be in the shorts or the leggings, and then for women in the top or a bra.
Yep. You want to dress for the conditions you're going to be running in. Obviously, if you're in a hot environment, less is better. A light t-shirt is going to work well. If you're in cold conditions, you need it windproof maybe, wind and waterproof maybe, but you do also want it breathable because you are going to get pretty warm while you're running. As a general rule of thumb, when you're choosing what to wear when you run, I would always dress for 10 degrees Celsius warmer than the current temperature is. So if it's 10 degrees outside, dress for 20 degrees. If it's 0 degrees outside, dress for 10 degrees and you'll be absolutely perfect when you're running. You can use cotton t-shirts, as Mark says. Mark and I actually started running when we were kids, always in cotton t-shirts. It was just what you wore. But technical shirts are going to be far more comfortable and they're going to stay around the same comfort from the beginning to the end because they wick that moisture away, whereas a cotton t-shirt's going to get wet and heavy, and by the end of the run, you might really want to take it off. So yeah, choose what you want to wear, but there are no rules. Runners will never judge you for what you're wearing.
Yeah, and the last bit of advice is what you train in may differ when it comes to race day. For instance, shorts. There's a whole array of different length and style shorts. We've got some particularly racy race shorts here. Very short, you may not want to run in them every day of the week, but for racing, you'll definitely notice a difference. So think about potentially upgrading your kit when it comes to a race.
Next on our list, and some people say this is vital and some people say they don't need it at all. Personally, I need it and I do use it quite regularly, and that's a decent anti-chafe. Obviously, if you're wearing the right clothing, you shouldn't get too much chafing, but you're always going to get a little bit, and especially as you go longer. And so applying something a little bit slippery before you go can definitely save yourself a stingy shower after your run.
Where would you like me to apply this then?
I'm good, thanks. Next on our list, the watch. Arguably, you don't need one at all, but you probably want to know how long you've been away from the family at the very least. A simple stopwatch is a great thing, and by simple these days, I mean non-GPS. My wife has been a top-level athlete for years, and she's got many GPS sports watches, and she still chooses to run every day in a simple stopwatch. All she wants to record is time.
But if you do want to upgrade, well, there's an array of different options out there depending on the information that you want to collect and receive. Obviously, we can get GPS watches like these out there. Obviously, they're tracking GPS, so the speed, the distance you travel, heart rate, pedometer, you name it, it goes on. There's a whole array of different information that you can receive through those. But if you're just starting out initially, you could just use your phone. You can use various different tracking apps on your phone. Personally though, I don't really like running with my phone, but then...
Nor me.
Yeah, I was born quite a while ago. These days, lots of people love to run with their phones, but this light, small phone that you normally carry around in your hand will actually feel quite heavy and quite sweaty after a while when you're running. So you may want to get something that will carry that phone for you. So maybe it will be attached to your arm, your wrist, your chest, you name it, the list goes on.
Next on our list of necessities is a training diary. Getting a GPS watch or tracking your running on your phone isn't a necessity, but keeping track of how much training you've done really is. Especially if you want to get fitter and faster down the line. And it also adds a lot of motivation when you can look back on your training diary and see how far you've come from when you started.
Yeah, and as with everything so far, we've got a whole array of options for you. You can start with a simple pen and paper, as James and myself used to years ago when we started out doing triathlon. But then we go to things like apps which can track things for you, like Strava, Map My Run, and you can instantly just look at total mileage and how you're going. But then we can also get subscription services like Training Peaks, where we can really take a deep dive into some of the data and start to analyze it that bit further. And then we have nutrition. Now, technically speaking, you don't need nutrition depending on the distance you're doing, but just don't go eating a massive meal directly before you head out for a run, and equally don't eat nothing all day before you head out for a run, and you should be fine. But if you are upping the distance, heading out for further or for longer, then eating something during that run will make the second half of that run substantially more enjoyable.
Yeah, what you eat during the run is completely up to you. From something homemade like a banana bread to jelly babies or something technical like an energy gel. Bear in mind though that you have to carry it with you for the run, and it has to be with you where you need it later on in the run. So something technical like an energy gel fits easily into your pocket and has all the energy you need, whereas something homemade might be a little bit more difficult to carry.
Yeah, and then also consider what we have post-run. If you have head out for something harder or for longer, then you do want to make sure that you're getting some fuel, some food in quickly after that run, and that is where some protein shakes or recovery foods will be really beneficial.
Speaking of nutrition and carrying stuff with you, you might not want to take nutrition with you, but you're probably going to want to take hydration with you if you're going longer or somewhere where it's hotter. How you carry water or fluid with you is really up to you. There are lots of options, from a full-on hydration pack that you wear on your back to simply carrying a bottle in your hand and everything in between. There are fuel belts which you can put around your waist. There are these which you can stash in a pocket once they're empty and carry in your hand, or put in the pocket of one of these vests. There are lots of options, but if you go in somewhere hot or for longer, you definitely want to take some hydration with you.
Yeah, and the benefit of these, which I use quite a lot for my longer runs, is that you can obviously stash things in there. Some of the things that we've discussed already today, like a phone. And another benefit to maybe using a phone and carrying that with you is that you can store some of your favorite tunes on it. So yeah,
music
pass the time
always
quickly.
makes the run go faster. To finish off our list today, not necessities, but certainly going to make you more comfortable when you're going out for your run. Various things such as sunglasses if it's going to be bright or sunny, running cap if it's going to be bright or sunny, and also if it's going to be rainy, a cap is very practical to keep the rain out of your eyes. Gloves if it's going to be cold. Wearing gloves, your hands get surprisingly cold when you run, even though the rest of your body is really warm.
Yeah, talking of which, you quite often see in cross-country races people wearing literally a skimpy vest and shorts, but they might have gloves on just to keep those hands warm. Also, something I rarely leave the house without is a head torch. Now, you can use this obviously to see, which I most often do, but also to be seen, and quite often these head torches will come with a red rear light should you want to use that too. Also, you can also wear some clothing that has some high-vis properties to it. So
yeah, safety first. Especially if you're running in the dark, you want to be visible to other people and also obviously be able to see yourself. If we've left anything off our list today, please drop it in the comments down below so that people have a complete list. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for more videos from GTN, and we'll see you again soon.